Christy is the Executive Director of Educate Advocate, and A Voice for Choice is what closely with Educate Advocate. We actually look to Educate Advocate often when we have special needs issues or issues with that are in regards to special needs, because they do a really good job of analyzing and helping special needs children in California. Educate Advocate is a California-based organization that for over 10 years has served families and children with special needs. And it is a member organization of the Lanterman Coalition. Christy is mom to Aiden, who is vaccine injured, and a wife to Erin. And so they were very active on SB 277, but also see this bill, SB 18, as could be a severe infringement on special needs children's and disabilities. And so I welcome Christy.
As she just said, I was diverted from Ontario to Oakland and just ran over here and got here. They just put the plane down. But anyway, I'm here to discuss special needs families and the relationship to SB 18. So I wanted to start by letting you guys know that California has a history of being a progressive state. And that has been favorable, actually, for the developmentally disabled and special needs community over at least the last 40 years in the state of California. If SB 18 becomes law, this will have a disastrous consequences for our special needs community and will greatly impact our parental rights that have been codified in both state and federal law. To back up, many may not know that parents of children with developmental disabilities have rights. California is unique in the entire United States, and that we have what's called the Lanterman Act. It's codified in our state law through the Welfare and Institutions Code. This California law says that people with developmental disabilities and their families, including their parents, have a right to get the services and supports they need to live like people without disabilities. The rights of parents of those with developmental disabilities are outlined over and over again throughout the Lanterman Act, including that parents shall have a leadership role in service design, and that parents should be empowered to make choices in all life areas. The service design alludes to the IPP document, which is also known as the Individualized Program Plan. The Individual Program Plan is developed through a process of individual needs determination of the person with a disability. The individual with developmental disabilities, and where appropriate, his or her parent, legal guardian, or conservator, or authorized representative, shall have the opportunity to actively participate in the development of the plan. The Welfare and Institutions Code 4501, it's beautiful language, I'm going to read it. The state of California accepts a responsibility, and this was passed, by the way, in the 70s, through our legislature. It was bipartisan. Democrats and Republicans strongly supported it. The state of California accepts a responsibility for persons with developmental disabilities and an obligation to them which it must discharge, affecting hundreds of thousands of children and adults directly and having an important impact on their lives, of their families, neighbors, and whole communities. Developmental disabilities present social, medical, economic, and legal problems of extreme importance. The complexities of providing services and supports to people with developmental disabilities require the coordination of services of many state departments and community agencies to ensure that no gaps occur in communication or provision of services and supports. A consumer of services and supports, and where appropriate, his or her parents, legal guardian, or conservator, shall have a leadership role in service design. And 4501, again, consumers of supports and services and supports, and where appropriate, their parents, legal guardian, or conservator, should be empowered to make choices in all life areas. This beautiful language codified in the Lanterman Act, part of our state's history, seems to conflict very strongly with SB 18. Each child with special needs is unique and requires individualized care and services. But if the state, under authority of SB 18, decides that all children with a specific diagnosis and developmental disability should be treated and served a certain way, that would remove the right of the parents to make decisions that are not consistent with the state's one-size-fits-all, research-based standard of care. Additionally, parents of children on an IEP in special education have rights. In special education, parents of children with disabilities from ages 3 through 21 have specific educational rights under what's called Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA. These rights are called procedural safeguards. These are codified in both state and federal law. Additionally, the parent is a vital part of the IEP, Individualized Education Program team. Parents must be given opportunities to participate in any decision-making meeting regarding their child's special education program. Parents have the right to participate in individualized education program meetings about the special education eligibility, assessment, educational placement of their child, and other matters relating to their child's free and appropriate public education, or called FAPE. And I have a link here to CDE, California Department of Education's website, that goes into great detail about that. SB 18 conflicts again with this right. Again, each child with special needs is unique, requires individualized care and services. If the state, under authority of SB 18, decides that children with a specific diagnosis and developmental disability should be treated and served in a certain way, that removes the right of the parents to make decisions not consistent with the state's one-size-fits-all, research-based standard of care. I put the question just yesterday to fellow special needs parents that I know of what stood out to them, questions that they had, concerns they have as they read SB 18, and how it might impact their family and their ability to parent their child with special needs. Below are a few of their questions, and I put them in categories. So the first was education. Could SB 18 be a vehicle to save school districts money on FAPE, free and appropriate public education, because anything that is not evidence or research-based would be categorized as not being an appropriate education? If SB 18 passes, is the parent no longer part of the IEP, Individualized Education Program, process? And would the state then decide what is appropriate? Would procedural safeguards that are guaranteed under federal law, IDEA, and our state law no longer apply? What if they say only public school is appropriate setting for special needs kids? Could this mean no homeschool is allowed for special needs kids? Could this mean no private school is allowed for special needs kids? Could this mean no non-public school is allowed for special needs children? There is a Supreme Court decision whose verdict should come out this summer that potentially could impact the standing of SB 18 as well. It involves, it's a little complicated, essentially it's called merely D-, it's a legal phrase, or non-trivial. So essentially, does a school district need to provide those on an IEP with an education that's essentially equivalent to the basic floor of opportunity, or do they need to give maximum educational benefit? If the Supreme Court decides the basic floor of opportunity or merely D-, could SB 18 give school districts all the power to authorize only public education and leave parents of children on an IEP with no negotiating power? The other category is health that we're concerned with. Will specialized diets be deemed non-evidence-based? We have families who eat organic, non-GMO, paleo, GFCF, gluten-free, casein-free, specific carbohydrate diet, SCD, or GAPS. What if they don't approve our kids taking supplements, doing alternative medicine, or homeopathic medicine? What if the state decrees children with certain diagnoses or developmental disabilities must have certain pharmaceutical interventions and treatments for their care? Will chiropractic care be deemed non-evidence-based? The reason why this question was brought forward is acupuncture was recently restored to the state budget of California for those that are on Medi-Cal or Medi-Cal managed plans, but not chiropractic. So we're kind of questioning why that was. What if a child has a medical condition involving a metabolic syndrome? Would the doctor report a parent to CPS because the child is overweight and they say the parents are not taking care of their child? Could potential, and this is a big one, and we're kind of seeing this happen all over the place, could potential medical kidnapping occur under SB 18? Example, you take a medically fragile child to the hospital. If you as a parent don't agree with the diagnosis, the medication, or the treatment, the state can intervene and take your child away. Could insurance companies deny services that are private pay for our special needs children? Another area of concern is safety. Will our kids be taken away because they have a tendency to wander or elope? A lot of children have done that, and the parents have tried all they can, and still that's happened. It's happened at school. It happened with Avante in New York. He wandered from school. Will they chip our kids without our consent? Developmental types of concerns. Will there be a cutoff age for toilet training of a special needs child? Oftentimes, many children, especially that are more severely impacted, those kinds of things are very difficult for them to accomplish. So it is of a concern. Will there be a cutoff age for appropriately manipulating utensils for special needs children? Services that impact special needs community are IHSS or in-home supportive services, Social Security, Medi-Cal or Medi-Cal managed plans, regional center, and school districts, Head Start. So the question is, will compliance of these, whatever the state standards are, be tied to the child receiving special needs, with special needs receiving services? Something to keep in mind, both Democrats and Republicans in the state of California have a long history of creating legislation that has truly benefited the special needs community. Democrats currently have a majority, and in some cases, supermajority in our state. Because of the open-ended nature of SB 18 and its vague language, SB 18 is a dangerous bill for all families, including special needs families. I encourage you to bring forward this information to your legislator. If your legislator is either Republican or Democrat, it should certainly appeal to them in their self-interest, no matter their party. Please tell them to vote no on SB 18. And if you would like, our website is educateadvocate.org, and we have information there, and you can email us if you have other questions. Thank you very much.